Fred Harpin, dairy farmer. Bill Williams, livestock producer. John Sturdivant, corn and soybean farmer. Fred, Bill, and John, District Farm Credit Board directors. Together, such men and the farmers they represent have achieved the most incredible success story in modern financing. They're listening to a report by one of their employees, who happens to be president of a bank in the Cooperative Farm Credit System. How did they get here? First, let's go back just a few years to the day John Sturdivant decided to stop being a silent member of his local grain co-op. The issue had to do with expansion and improvement of their grain storage facilities. John was among those who felt that expansion was necessary.
Turn more acres loose, so we'll need more capacity for storage.
Anybody else? Hayden?
Well, I think, Desi, if you put it that way, I think probably we need more storage capacity at this time, but however, within the next 18 months or 2 years, we may not need this much.
Larry? I may have talked too darn much, but that's the way I feel.
I'm glad you did. I think we're going to need that addition on the elevator.
Yes, I do too. Now, we need to get the man from the Bank of Co-ops up here to make sure we're not biting off more than we can chew.
At about that same time, Fred Harpin, the dairy farmer, was being approached by his son, Ronnie.
Dad?
Yeah?
You gonna take me to the PCA today?
It's all set up.
Do you think they'll let you get a loan for me?
Are you nervous about it?
Sort of. They kind of ask about your character, don't they?
Yeah, it's important, all right.
Well, I hope I have enough.
I think you'll do. Let me finish up here and we'll go see about it. Watch your finger. Go on inside and change your clothes. I'll be with you in a minute.
All right.
Bill Williams. At that time, he had just inherited some land from his grandfather. It wasn't enough to sustain the kind of cattle and hog operation Bill envisioned.
We could maybe work that in with this land here. It'd really be nice.
And the drafty old house on the place left something to be desired.
Yeah.
Say, Bill?
Should. Yeah.
Ask you a question about this field. How many acres do you have in the bottom field down here?
Granddad always called it 15.5 acres. We cleared out a couple acres down in that.
Bill and his wife had some money saved from previous operations on rented land, but they weren't quite sure how they wanted to use it. That's why Bill turned to the local Federal Land Bank Association for advice.
Rain's enough.
I think it's time.
The fact that John Sturdivant's co-op was contacting the Bank for Cooperatives, that Fred Harpin was taking his son to the Production Credit Association, and that Bill Williams sought the advice of the Land Bank Association was no accident. It relates to a tradition among farm people, one we accept and hardly notice, unless we listen closely.
You broke down. Can I give you a hand?
Yeah, you got a 9/16 socket?
Right at the busy time of the summer. Norma, since you had the board meeting night, don't worry about the kids. I'll see if they get the 4-H meeting.
Oh, thanks, Janet. Really appreciate it.
Glad to do it.
Oh, Bernice, how's Fred feeling today? Oh, he is. You tell him the boys and I'll be down there to cultivate that corn and put up his hay. We'll check them cattle. You tell him just stay in bed. Tell the old buzzard if he don't, we'll come down and tie him in there.
If there's anything I can do now, you let me know, will you?
Okay, let me know. Time and date. Bye, Norma. Bye, girls.
Farm families have a long tradition of helping each other out, of working together. So it's no wonder they have managed through cooperative systems to improve their mutual economic positions. and even helped develop a cooperative system for meeting their credit needs. For farming does take capital in amounts that would astonish the average non-farmer. The city dweller in the car, for example, considers himself a successful businessman. In his insurance agency, he has $10,000 invested in office equipment, and he manages about $150,000 in insurance premiums. Fred considers himself an average farmer. He has $75,000 invested in equipment, and he manages about $250,000 worth of land and livestock. This man's son hopes to become a business executive. He can do it because his main investment will be his time and energy. Fred's son, Ronnie, hopes to be farming on his own someday. But how is he going to get the equipment and the money for cows or for feed and seed? Who will rent him the use of their valuable land? Where will he market his products? Tomorrow's young farmer is going to need a lot of help. But then so did his father, and his father before him. And farm families do find ways of working together.
In my father's younger days, when a farmer needed credit, he was low man on the totem pole. You see, most credit terms are set up to fit people with steady incomes. You take a business industry, for instance. Now, when the market changes, why, an industry can expand, or it can close down a factory. They can hire or lay off workers. They can switch their line of products. But the crop a farmer plants one month is the crop he's going to get months later, no matter what the market does in the meantime. A co-op elevator has to take in the grain when the grain is ready. A dairyman can't ask his cows to take a month layoff. And if there's a poor market for milk, he can't switch them to putting out root beer. Unless he's born wealthy, a farmer can't afford to purchase land and then work it. He needs the kind of credit that allows him to work it and earn enough out of it for a decent living and to pay for the land as he goes along. Years back, when people were losing their farms and rural credit was scarce, the point got home to people that a nation without an abundant source of food and raw material can't survive. Somehow, farmers had to be able to get the money they needed to operate. So Congress recognized this need, and working together with farmers, they developed the farm credit system.
Did the government pay for it?
Well, they put in the money to get it started. But this is one system that paid it all back years ago. Well, Ronnie, it's all owned by the farmers, ranchers, and growers who use it. And it all operates on private capital.
I still don't understand it.
You're not the only one.
Perhaps the easiest way for Ronnie to understand it is this. A farmer's credit needs fall into three broad categories. He needs money to keep up his production, money for land, and money to build and operate his cooperatives. For production, or other loans up to 7 years, he has his farmer-owned Production Credit Association, which gets loan money through a federal intermediate credit bank. For land and for other long-term loans, he has his Farmer-Owned Land Bank Association, which helps arrange loans from a federal land bank. As for his cooperatives, they apply for loans directly to the Bank for Cooperatives serving the state in which they are headquartered. That's the farm credit system from the user's viewpoint. Let's look at it again, this time from the national viewpoint. Nationwide, the system consists of 12 farm credit districts. Each district contains a federal land bank, a federal intermediate credit bank, and a bank for cooperatives.